awesome. By the way, your hair is like popping like that. Your hair loves that weather.
It does. It loves the humidity. Some people are like, oh, the humidity, my hair gets so frizzy, but mine loves it. Like, because the moisture is just in my hair all day long.
Beautiful. So, I love it. Okay, seriously, hi. I miss you. I miss your face. Like, I'm so happy to see you.
I miss you so much. Girl. I miss everyone, but I really miss you. You're the sunshine of the office. So
you are my, like, I see you and I'm like, oh, Ashlyn's here. Like, you're just like, so, you know, like, hey, I'm here. We're here. Let's do this, you know. Start with, first of all, you're in Florida. You're visiting Vinny's, is it parents?
Yeah, so my fiance Vinny, his mom and dad live down here. They retired and moved down here. They're in their 50s, living their best life. They have the pickleball courts over here, the bocce ball courts.
You have been planning a wedding since I met you about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, since COVID struck, I know it's just been such pandemonium for you. I don't know, like, what advice would you give to, first of all, what are your plans? And what advice would you give to someone who's trying to plan an event during all of this?
So when COVID hit, everything went up in the air, right? So we pushed the date out to November of next year, so November of 2021. And we love the date 10-3 because we started dating on March 10th when we were kiddos in high school. Love so that. We're still going to get eloped. And we're still going to have our honeymoon. We're going to go to Fiji this year.
Family means a lot to you, I know. And we've talked at length about your family, you know, and just the family structure and the family dynamic. So how do you describe what you do to your family? Like to say your grandma or your relative, like when they ask, you know, Ashlyn, what do you do? You know, how do you describe it to them?
Yeah. So it is fun to explain what you do when you're working for a marketing agency to anyone in your family, because I don't know, I was telling Vinny's little brother who's going to go be an accountant. So he was like, yeah, you guys are basically glorified arts and crafts, like kindergartners, aren't you? I'm like, oh, no, we do more than that, but kind of, yeah, we have a lot of fun at work. So yeah, I just tell, like, my Italian grandparents, for example, I have to be very careful in terms of how I explain what I do because they don't get it. A, they're old, and B, English isn't their first language. So they're like, Ashlyn, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'll be like, oh, nana. Advertising, like you see commercials on TV, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so we do that except on computers. And they're like, oh, okay. And that's all I'll tell them because anything else would be too much for them to handle. And they're so sweet. Right. I love them. But yeah, for my mom and dad, I'll usually tell them, like, not get into the nitty gritty of what we do, but yeah, so I'm like the middleman. I talk to clients and then I talk to my team, and I kind of handle all communications in the middle between the clients and the internal team here in the marketing world. So that's what I tell them.
That's a really great way to put it. As an account manager, you have to take what the team is saying and then relay it to the client, and then you have to take what the client says and relay it to the team. And then in doing so, it can be tough though, right? Because being the middleman, do you feel like you get squeezed sometimes?
Definitely. You're just trying to keep everyone happy.
What would you say what does it take to be a good account manager? I mean, I know that just from watching you and seeing what you do, there's so many skills that a good account manager should have. What would you say is like a must? You must have this if you want to be an account manager. Because I have friends who say to me, well, what does an account manager do? And I'm like, I just look at them and I'm like, I don't know if you'd be a good account manager. I don't know. What would you say is like the thing you got to have?
Communication skills. That's the number one to me, because that is essentially what your role is you're a professional communicator, whether it be over the phone, presenting information, like a report to a client, or conducting a meeting, leading a meeting, or just emailing back and forth. And then of course, using like our internal project management system with our team. You just have to be able to communicate someone's wants and needs and their description of something to the next person. It's like a game of telephone. So if you're like the best communicator in the world, you'll be good at being an account manager.
I love that. Tell me something that drives you nuts just in general. Like if it happens, Ashlyn's going to be like, she's going to give you that look.
Like in work, like a pet peeve, or like
in life, just in life, like in Ashlyn's world, like what is the one thing that if it happens, you're just like, it just drives you nuts. Like a pet peeve. Yeah, like something like, ugh.
I would say ignorance is definitely a pet peeve of mine. And then when people don't have very good self-awareness, and it's just so obvious to me. Like, for example, here I am in Florida. How'd we get here? We flew. So Vinny and I were boarding the airplane, and as we're, making that awkward shuffle down the aisle to our seat, we're making eye contact with people. That's always like my least favorite part about getting on the airplane is boarding and making awkward eye contact. If you're trying to get to your seat, you're like, I don't want to be here. Just let me sit down. I made eye contact with this like older woman. Yep. And you're just like holding your bag, like straining your back. Like, I'm not strong enough for this. I saw this older woman sitting in her seat. She's sitting next to two strangers, and she takes down her mask and then coughs and then puts it back on. I was just like, what? Like, are you not aware of your surroundings and yourself and the pandemic right now? Like, I was just like, are you aware of the point of the mask?
Oh, Lord. Okay, one thing about you that I know, but others don't know, is that Ashlyn is a massive Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
I'm not just how much she likes Harry Potter. There's like people that like, there's a spectrum. There's like, yeah, I read a book or two, saw the movie on one end. And then there's Ashlyn.
Yeah, like you're so right. There's like, oh, I've like seen like a couple of the movies.
It was cool.
Like, yeah, there's like, oh, I've read the book, seen all the movies. And then there's me who is like, I'm basically better than J.K. Rowling. Like, I pretty much could have written the books. Like,
duh.
It's like, take me to Harry Potter trivia.
Duh.
I'll win for you. Let me.
Yeah. What is it about the world of Harry Potter that is like you're so about? Like, you're like, I'm about that life.
It's my childhood. I feel like a lot of people my age. So I'm a millennial. Hello, world. Watch out. But yeah, I just feel like I grew up with the books. I read all of them. I would go to like the midnight book releases and movie premieres. And you just kind of grow up. Like, the Wizarding World was like part of my like existence as a little kid, and I would just look forward to the next chapter and the next book, and you really identify with those characters, Yeah. And I just loved being able to experience some magical world that you don't get to really experience because, hey, reality isn't really magical, right? But as a little kid, you get to escape to this magical world, and you really just fall in love with the characters. So I think that's what really drew me the most to the books, and then all the movies growing up.
You are such an individualist. When people meet you, there's nothing about you that is cookie cutter. Like, I would never look at you and say, you're unlike anyone I've ever met. Like, there's nothing cookie cutter about Ashlyn. Is it hard to be such an individualist? Like, someone like you just honestly, you're like, yep, this is who I am. I like Harry Potter. My cat's name is Minerva. I mean, I don't care. I mean, is it, tell me about that. Like, what makes you why are you such a rugged individualist?
I don't know. I never even thought about myself, I guess, as that consciously. I guess, oh, it's starting to rain. Do you care if I just migrate?
No, honey, and it's starting to rain here too.
Really?
At the same time.
I think people just like what they like. And for me, it's, I love Harry Potter. I love my cat. I love having my curly hair, whatever. So, yeah.
That's what I love about you, though. It's just like, there's nothing cookie cutter about you. Like, if there's a fad, chances are you won't be following it. And so I love that. I just love that about you. Because you're like, yeah, I'm over here in my own world. I'm running my own race. What is something that you believe in that a lot of people around you don't? And it's kind of like you're always like trying to explain to them, like, no, this is why you need, you know what I mean? Like, something you totally are into that maybe people around you are not, and you have to explain it to them.
I have a fun one. So,
okay.
Conspiracy theory. Avril Lavigne died in 2004, and this girl named Melissa took her place. And Vinny and I are like, hey, this is real. Like, we have to get people on board with this. Have you heard about this conspiracy theory?
No.
Okay.
Avril Lavigne died in 2004. Wasn't she with that dude from Nickelback?
Yeah, that's Chad Kroeger. And listen, I know way too much about this.
We need to unpack this just for like a hot minute. You think she died and some chick named what?
Melissa.
Melissa took over Avril and her whole persona and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, where I don't see her very often. Where has Avril Lavigne been?
She's very off the grid. there's all of these different conspiracy videos about it, but basically her face is entirely different than it was. She also, her voice is different. If you hear her voice, it's different than it used to be when she talks. Her entire music style changed. It's insane.
Ashlyn.
You're gonna go after the call online and research this for hours, and then you're gonna be mad at me about it, but you're gonna be so intrigued.
Girl, I have lost I will now blame you for any lost time that I have. I'm taking the next few days off. If I like don't surface for air, it's because I'm looking up this conspiracy theory. Oh my God. Okay.
That's a fun one if you want to dig deep there.
Oh my God. Okay. Favorite food during quarantine?
Oh. So like I've been trying to be healthy, but if I could just eat as much as I want of it, Trader Joe's has these little chocolate chip sandwich cookies, ice cream sandwich cookies. I could just eat like 5 of them. Like they come in boxes of 4. Like I'll eat the whole box, but like I can't do that.
Before we spoke, what was I not housing, but this is the wrapper. I've been eating ice cream sandwich like it's out of control. I don't know what's wrong with me. And the ice cream cookies don't even get me started.
There's nothing wrong with you, Norma. It's just they're the best. And
I've been like slamming those every day. I'm like, ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. So what I do is like I don't buy it, because if I do buy it, I'll eat it. So if I don't buy it and it's not there, then I won't eat it. So that's my strategy.
I like that. So okay, ice cream sandwich from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, they're just addicting. They're so good.
I like it. Okay, so I think one quirky habit of yours that people who don't know you may not know about you. Like a quirky habit, like an Ashlyn thing.
A quirky habit. Like I have my own podcast. I don't know if that counts as something fun and quirky.
That's fun. Not necessarily quirky, but I love that you do have a podcast. Why don't you tell everybody about it? Because I love the title. It's hysterical.
Yeah, so it's called Who Burnt the Popcorn? And in the description that I have about my podcast, it is a podcast full of quirk. So I would say that it's somewhat quirky. It's just my podcast, but then I'll have friends or guests on. Like I've only done 2 so far because COVID kind of put a halt to it. But I just recorded my last one a week or so ago, and we did a review on Uncut Gems. So it's a movie review podcast. And basically we just sit down, review the movie. We take notes, but what I'll do with my guests is we'll watch the movies separately, take notes separately, and then we'll like say what we think about it during. And really the whole premise is, do we think the movie burnt the popcorn? And if it burnt the popcorn, it wasn't very good, and we don't recommend it. If it was good, then we'll say, oh no, it was a really good movie. That one had extra butter, a little bit
extra butter. I was gonna say, I love it. So how do you choose your movies?
So I think I'm going to start doing polls on Instagram so that we can have people vote on what we want to do. But usually I'll ask my guests what they want to review, and then we'll just do whatever they want. And we try to stick with things that are more recent releases.
Okay.
So in the last couple of years, like Emma was our first movie that we reviewed, and which was really interesting. It was like the Jane Austen novel. I wouldn't recommend it. You should listen to the podcast though.
Emma, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to listen to the podcast. So download subscribe for free anywhere you get your podcasts.
Yeah,
right?
It's anywhere. I tell people Spotify, but it's anywhere.
Okay, so who burned the popcorn?
Who burnt the popcorn?
Who burnt?
Burnt.
Okay, I love that. So you have your own podcast, and okay, so I had you for my Secret Santa this year.
Yes, you did.
And it was so fun shopping for you because I was like, gee, what does Ashlyn like? And I remember Adriana, our other coworker in Rochester, she was like, oh, well, she goes, Ashlyn has very specific tastes. And that's how I grew to know more about you. But like I knew about the Harry Potter obsession because we talked, because I love Harry Potter too, and we kind of like bonded over that. But then I didn't know that you love elephants. You love, like, that's your thing. Elephants. Love them.
I do. I love them so much. They're just so intelligent. They're really intelligent creatures. I've learned a lot about them over the years. I have a tattoo of elephants on my body, actually. It was the first tattoo I ever got, were these 2 elephants with their little trunks on my hip. And we went to Thailand recently, my fiance and I, and that's where he actually proposed to me. So we spent the whole day in Chiang Mai with the elephants, and we got to pet them and bathe them and feed them and get a hike with them. And then at the end of the day, he proposed to me. So that's how much I love elephants, is he coordinated this whole thing.
Yeah. I didn't know that it was that deep. I thought, oh, it's like a favorite animal. I didn't realize it was like totally your thing. Like,
oh, I love them so much. I'll talk about them forever too. Like, I know too many things about them. So yeah, I love them.
I tell you, if you don't want to be like, if you want to be bored, don't talk to Ashlyn, basically. Right? If you want to be bored, do not talk to her, because she is so interesting. Your family, and like, I just love the stories of your family and how you just tell the best stories. Oh, you are short. Okay, you're not even selling yourself. You are shortchanging the audience. There are things I know that you are not revealing to people that you need to release. Okay.
What?
One of them is your love for accents. If there's anyone I know in the office who can do an amazing, like, it's Ashlyn. You do voices like nobody I know.
And that ties into my love for movies. So growing up, my dad, he lives out in California, so we didn't see a lot of him growing up because my mom lives on the East Coast. So when we did see him, or even when we weren't with him, we'd watch movies, and every time we called on the phone, whether it be once a week or so, we would talk about the movie we saw, so we had something to talk about. And that's kind of like why I love movies so much and why I have the podcast about movies. And we would always quote movies. So while I was like a very average student in school, I could tell you any scene from like any movie growing up, quote it, do the voice and impression of the actor in the scene. Like, that's just how my family was growing up, is we could just quote anything.
I love that about you. So what's like your favorite accent? Like your favorite
my favorite like, impression to do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love Linda Belcher. I also love doing like English accents, but Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers is one of my favorites. I don't know why, but everyone says that like I remind them of Linda Belcher, and I'm always like, the person that does the voice of Linda Belcher is a man, but okay, like fun fact. I'm like, I guess she's a fun character.
So but we did one though. You and I did one time. What was it? Was it Pee Wee Herman or no? It wasn't Pee Wee Herman. It was like.
You're good too, though. Yeah.
I can do it too, or something, and it was just.
Was it Sebastian? You did the Little Mermaid Sebastian crab guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
What else?
If you want a good impression in a movie, like of a character in a movie, ask Ashlyn. She knows.
Yeah, I do.
Totally blew me away with that. I was like, oh my god, she knows.
Love it.
She's my people. This is my final question, Ashlyn. And this is gonna be a real deep one. Real deep.
Okay.
Real deep.
I'm ready for it.
Say that a Pop-Tart is actually just a ravioli. Mind blown, right?
Okay. Yeah, but like it's not savory. It'd be a sweet ravioli, right? But it'd be a harder exterior because it has more of a crust on the outside, whereas a ravioli is obviously pasta. But yeah, I mean, it depends on how you define ravioli. Do you have a definition of what a ravioli is prepared?
If the definition of ravioli is stuffed food, does not a Pop-Tart qualify?
It absolutely is a ravioli if that's the definition, without a doubt. I don't even have to think about it.
It's a pastry ravioli.
It is.
Calling it a Pop-Tart.
What's your favorite Pop-Tart?
Ooh, strawberry with frosting.
Okay. All right.
I love fruit-filled. I love a fruit-filled anything. Anything with fruit-filled.
Good to know. Yeah, I
feel like I have a feeling you don't. What is your favorite?
Guess.
Okay, it would have to be like cinnamon and sugar or the s'mores.
Stop. Those are my favorites. Did I tell you this before?
No.
My mind is blown. Stop it. Those are my actual, you can ask anyone. You can ask Vinny. He'll tell you those are my favorite. Then you got to put them in the toaster because.
What's the point?
I have s'mores in the toaster. Wow. Wow, Norma Holland.
When I was at Channel 13, if there was a commercial break, a long commercial break, I had it down to a science where I knew I could go down the hall with my Pop-Tart, put it in the toaster, and it could be done before the end of commercial break. I could run back down the hall, sit on the set, and eat my warm Pop-Tart. There's something about a warm Pop-Tart that is just like, you know what I mean? Like in those mornings when it was like really cold and I'm like, warm Pop-Tart. I don't know.
It's so satisfying. It really is. It's just what you need in the moment.
Do you see, Ashlyn, this show is about opening up to the people who don't know you. And we have opened the vault. We've gone in, we have discovered all the Ashland that there is. And I freaking miss you. I miss you so much.
I miss you so much too.
I miss my Rochester people. I miss my digital Hyve people. And we need to get back. We need to get back. I don't know when we're going to or how we're going to, but damn this COVID.
Yeah.
Sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. At least we have things like this though, you know, technology, you know, at least I get to see your face, right?
Yeah, so amazing. All right, so listen, so if you want to catch or you want to review a movie with Ashlyn, reach out to your girl who
Yes.
burnt the popcorn, okay?
Yes.
And that's where you find them. You can of course download the podcast everywhere. So we do this thing now. We're doing this thing with the high five, okay? I love it. You're the best, Ashlyn. I miss you. I love you, and I can't wait to see you again, okay?
Okay, thank you for having me.
Bye. Have fun in Florida. Wear your sunscreen.
I will.
Stay away from those crocodiles.
Alligators. See you later. See you later, alligator.
Bye.
Bye.